So, George, how are you?
Really well, thank you, Gary, and yourself?
I'm perfect. Thank you very much. Good to talk to you again, my friend.
Hey
Yeah, I missed you
George,
guys.
much
Hey,
love to you.
yes, and
Hey,
Kimberly.
Kimberly, how are you, beautiful angel? You well?
Very well, thank you.
Fantastic.
So listen, the reason I invited you to this interview has a couple of levels to it. I think the primary level to it is that one of the things that I've been running into with my connection with other people around the planet is that I'm starting to get, I'm having big questions around what some people would define the battle of good and evil. And that's been a prevailing theme in literature, in movies, in everything.
The age-old battle, yes.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
age-old battle. And I'm at this place where I don't want to buy into the battle. I don't want to look at it as a battle. I don't want to look at it as a fight. And that's where I've kind of learned to move to. And so I was hoping that perhaps you might be able to shed some light on your viewpoint from your perspective of what is it to have this battle of good and evil, light and dark, versus light is just stronger than the dark, and it is. You can't have one without the other, and we know that light is stronger than the dark, and so how can we transcend the concept of a fight or a battle? Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. And I think the key to understanding this concept or these concepts is to look at it from, there's many variables. It's not just one concept of good versus evil, because we're looking at it like the good versus evil perspective comes from within the drama. Then, because, this is a multidimensional reality, so when you get to the higher perspectives, then you realize that everybody's on their journey. And really, it comes down to the battle of good and evil going on in the drama. The drama of this reality has to do with, I would say, the right to be. The right to be instead of fighting good and evil. That to me is the key. It's okay. Is there a negative energy wanting to stop me from reclaiming my sovereignty and progressing down my soul path? Yes, there is. Could you view that as a battle? Well, on one level you can. But I like to view it as I'm a sovereign being of life, of this universe, and I have a right to be. And I do not want any being to interfere with that any longer. It's gone on long enough. And so basically just wanting to stand up and be. Does that help explain sort of the way I view it?
Yes. But I would like you to maybe explain more what it means to be.
Yeah, sure. I have me as a being that has chosen to come into this reality and have these wonderful experiences. So on one level of it, I have entered into the drama, the arena, where there is this fight of good and evil as we perceive it taking place. And that is beings who are what we would perceive as being darker beings wanting to impede my consciousness, my spirit and my sovereignty, wanting to control it and wanting to actually even feed off me energetically and feed off my resources.
Okay.
And so that is actually what has been taking place with humanity. And so it gets to the point where you say, hang on a moment, I have the right to be. I have my own sovereignty. And we've seen this in many analogies and fractals of this concept within our world, within the history. If you take slavery on this planet, for example, it has been a wonderful fractal of what's taking place in this higher level of scheme of things. And so I have the right to be, and I want to proceed in my soul's journey, my soul's path, and it's getting to the point where these energies can no longer stop me from doing that. And that is the perceived battle of good and evil is this much higher level of awareness, the higher aspects of our being, the higher energies of the universe, which are now coming in from inside of each one of us. It's entering that power, that access to that higher states of energy is now being injected from the higher realms of the universe down into our embodiments here, and we're getting more and more access to that. And therefore this concept of this energy that wants to impede us and stop us is losing its grip, it's losing its battle. And basically, as we enter into this greater state of awareness, you can actually see that there is no battle ultimately, because we are all on our own journeys having our experiences together. And even these beings whose intention is to impede our progress, they are actually playing a wonderful role for us to have this incredible exchange down here in the arena. So ultimately, there is no battle. Everybody's playing their role. And we're working together, actually, as brothers and sisters in life. But from down here, with a limited awareness, that is how it is perceived, as this battle between good and evil.
Okay, so the question is, as far as duality is concerned, I view that there is higher vibrating energy and lower vibrating energy, and I don't choose to judge the lower vibrating energy as being bad. However, I understand that the metaphor, the words of humanity describe them as good and evil. And light and dark is what duality is all about. And we're living, we're having this conversation in a dualistic perspective. And I'm intrigued, George, because one of the things that I have recognized in having been aware and following your messages for a couple of years now, before we ever spoke, is that I heard some of the information that you were giving, to me, had some of a fear-based, lower vibrating energy to it. However, I resonated with what I gleaned that worked for me. And now, over the last couple of years, I have recognized you, George, to become lighter yourself in that choice of love versus fear. And I guess that's what I'm asking for you to speak to.
Wow, thank you for acknowledging that and observing and acknowledging that. I very much appreciate that. What I've come to discover in my journey is that we as individuals are working our way, from one perspective, we're working our way through these dimensional levels, or through these vibratory levels.
Right.
So as we work our way through these vibratory levels, really we're reintegrating different aspects of ourselves and reacclimatizing ourselves to these different modes and of expression, different states of being. And whilst we're going through that, like to put labels here is, we've been in the third dimension for some time, and I found myself moving in the last decade and a half through the fourth dimensional paradigm. Whilst I'm here in the third and I'm expressing aspects of myself in the fourth, I have also reintegrated with the fifth dimensional aspects of myself and beyond. And therefore, we are multidimensional in truth, and we are fluctuating in and out of these realms constantly as we are in the process of compressing all of these aspects of self in every level of the universe, of our universal existence, and we are compressing them all into oneness. That's the journey we've chosen to undertake. So again, it will depend on what level you need to view a situation from. So if I view it from the fifth and above, then everything is in perfect divine order.
From that perspective, right.
Yeah. There is no such thing as dark versus evil. It is just different states of expression, and we're all